The history of AI has been in existence for more than half a century. It has been a purely research subject. And we know something will happen if it continues for so long. And because the computer has been so fast moving and the communication nowadays is really a piece of cake. So the development of AI quickly is not all that surprised. In particular, the hot topic today we're talking about ChatGPT, for example, is very natural evolution of AI technology. And similar things have happened many times in history. So it's not really a surprising. You know. It gives us an opportunity to review what we have been doing. And I keep on saying that it's important to integrate teaching with research. And these two things have been quite separated for a long, long time. Of course, some advanced universities tend to do well. We always believe that good researchers must be teaching, and good teachers must be doing some research. And this AI technology is a realization of such a concept. But only if you know what's happening today, can you be a good professor to disseminate knowledge, information that students won't be able to get otherwise. In quite a few places, that is true. For example, in a little bit ancient time, universities are supposed to be ahead of the curve. I mean, ahead of society development. But now we seem to follow what the marketing is doing. Well, it shows there's a gap. The gap simply says the degree we give to the students and what students really can do are not all that consistent. And a good university can narrow the gap, but I don't think anybody can make the gap zero. So our job is we need to narrow the gap when we give degrees to our students, and we should let people know that the degree they get will have some value to the community. And I think this is what we need to do in the university. All of these things are important. And a lot of people say that a good university must have a grand masters to drive the university's higher education. But how do we get grand masters? Why some universities are doing better than the others? Certainly, higher education has three elements there. One is the government. The second one is the society. And the third one is the university. Well, in order to move forward, we need to have a good hardware infrastructure, and we need to have software nowadays, clearly, computer, internet, everything is very important. But what really drives a higher education to move forward is your mind, your soulware. You must know how to mix the hardware, software, and grandmaster. How do you able to lead the society by technology and also humanities? Because what we do is supposed to be of benefit to the society. It should be used by you and me. Therefore, in order to do that, hardware, software itself not sufficient. You must have a good software to understand what is the mission of the higher education. Back to your question, certainly the government play a very important role because they help the university to put up the right strategy, including investment, direction, and all those kinds of things. Therefore, in the new version of the book, I keep on saying that the soulware, the spirit, is actually on top of hardware and software. but no element can stand alone by itself to make the education move forward. To make it efficient, certainly it means you have to use the resources carefully. You have to have a policy to move along. And the other thing that's important is not only efficiency, but as I mentioned, the effectiveness and also of relevance to the society need. Therefore, I keep on saying that we have to define the mission of a university. No university can do everything. And many universities, particularly in this part of the world, want to be comprehensive, but that's not realistic. That hurts efficiency. And nobody should to be comprehensive all the time. It costs too much. And most universities cannot afford it. Each university should define its own strength, its relevance to the individual society that the university lives with, and then have enough resources for that. There are certainly a lot of common points among mainland China, Taiwan, and Hong Kong, and partially because of the Chinese tradition. Both government and people pay a lot of attention to degrees, and many people believe the more the better, and people pay a little bit less attention to utility of the degrees, namely what degrees means. So the university, in some way, sometimes they become degree machines to produce degrees. And I personally feel that university should do something of relevant to society, and we need to be somewhat philosophical too. And we, of course, need to lead the society instead of to be a follower of the societies. And certainly to pay too much attention to the degrees itself need to be corrected, in my opinion. I think this is a difference between what I know about American way and the policy here. The American way, generally speaking, is more market driven. The universities usually don't restrict the quota of each discipline. It will be determined by the market. And the market response will be relatively short, quick. Therefore, such a problem is less problematic than in this part of the world. In this area, those quota of market-driven are defined by the government. And of course, the government will tell you they define the market, they define the quota based on their analysis on the market. So there is one layer there. They analyze the market, and they base on that to determine which program can admit how many students. But the Americans are directly by the market. If this degree, take computer science, for example, over the last half of the century, sometimes enrollment is high, sometimes enrollment is low, and sometimes coming back again. It is really something that reflects the market directly. But in this part of the world, the quota and the size of enrollments of students are both determined by the government. And again, as I said, they believe their definition based on the realistic analysis, but it really not totally true. That caused the problem you mentioned. Some area has been oversupplied, the other one there's a shortage. Definitely. For example, the Times Higher has helped a lot to have university to communicate with each other. You hold regional conferences in many places. So I think we need to present the model program, and also it'd be good to present the failure of some models so people know what to do and what not to do. I've been in Hong Kong for 15 years. Before I came to Hong Kong, I've been in USA for 34 years. I must be influenced very heavily by the American way. It's well known that the higher education in the USA probably has been most successful one over the last century. Okay, it has many reasons. One reason is government only decide the policy. The policy will determine the funding level, and the government's hands are off. Okay, of course, people can say now they're not totally off today, but relatively speaking, their hands are off. So they let individuals to recruit faculty and students to determine research agenda. And so it's quite successful. It has a free spirit. It has a great level, great degree of academic freedom in the USA. Again, nobody's perfect, as I said. But for the other part of the world, many policies are more government-driven, okay? And government tend to do a little bit more micromanagement. And that's a differentiation between the American way and non-American way. The government USA are leaving the university and the board alone for the most part. And so the universities are managed by the president, chancellor, or chancellor, depending on how you define the terminologies. But then they are managed by the board, the government's hands off. But in many other parts of the government's hands are in the university more directly. Definitely. And the reason that there was a new edition, new title of the book, it actually has a lot of new insight. More than 50% of the new book has been rewritten. It's for obvious reason. In the last 5 years, the world had changed a lot. Economically, technology-wise, and social impact and all those things, it make it very distinct that the higher education must have a lot of challenges. And they are more in one part of the world than the other part of the world. But overall, we need to work together to take care of those challenges, to make the higher education or the university, so to speak, to be the driving force to our society, to contribute to the society, which cannot otherwise be done. There are always positive things and negative things. And the positive thing in this book, we emphasize quality. And the quality is certainly, one part of the quality is shown by the ranking, for example. The ranking helps people to understand your shortfalls. But ranking, as you know, do not review the whole spectrum. It has shortfall, and something you cannot look into it, such as the government's interruption of university operation. That one cannot be ranked well at this moment. So there are some parts we can make improvement. The other part, we need to continue to study what needs to be done. Of course, in each different sector of the world, the higher education has its own nature, obstacles, challenges, and they're not all the same. There are several parts, of course. One part is that it'd be better the government would do no micromanagement and leave this to the expert to do this, okay? And trust the board, let them handle it itself. And also on the faculty and staff side, we should be less political, okay? Nobody can be 100% politics free because you have to have resources, and resources are controlled for the most part by the government and society. So there's no ideal environment, as we all know that. The other part is related to AI. Certainly we are driven by AI. And I mentioned in the very beginning, there's a gap between the degree and also how much knowledge, how much contribution you can give to society. And nobody can narrow the degree to zero. So one thing we can do is innovation. Everybody talk about innovation nowadays, but what does innovation mean? Innovation must be something to give the students, faculty member, the opportunity to create something that they think important from their heart. And then they need some assistance, resources-wise, business plan, and legal aspect. And all these should be supplied by relevant sectors. If I may, I can share with you a good example has been like Cornell Tech. Cornell University worked closely with Technion and to build up this new campus to promote it. And I think this is a good starting point. And certainly in CTU, we also have a small scale, HK Tech 300, to give people opportunity to innovate. In this regard, again, the government should encourage us and put hands off. Leave the project to the expert industrialists to help with us. The good news today is it seems the society is more science-based, okay? Namely, it must have a reason to be successful. That's something encouraging. But what we have not done in the last half century is also addressed in the book, which is we tend to be less philosophical recently than the earliest 20th century. But perhaps history will repeat again. I foresee in sometime in the future, we are going to get back to be more philosophical again, because many advancement of a society really based on philosophies. And I hope that will be generated by the university somewhere, and that help all human beings to grow together as a whole.